these engineers are spending their whole day on making something more bliss point. So think about, you brought up a great point with the salt, sweet, fat kind of thing, is that think about if I was to give you some raw almonds, how many would you eat? And then if I was to give you, I'll roast them. It brings out a little sweetness, a little flavorful note. You eat a little bit more. Let me put some oil on them. Let me put some salt on them. Let me add a honey flavor. Let me add habanero, honey habanero. And now all of a sudden you're eating the whole bag.
Why is my mouth watering now? My mouth.
You're eating the whole bag, and that's the whole bliss point idea. It's like all these people, they know. I mean, that's why bacon, which is okay for us on keto, but it's salty, it's crunchy, it's chewy, it's got like multiple textures and many things going on, and then people add like maple syrup to it, and on and on and on, and then it's hitting all these different palates. Foods typically from nature have one or two. They don't have four or five like bliss point factors. So, that's part of the problem is like they're just engineering these things so that you get your dopamine, serotonin explosion, literally like a foodgasm, right? And then there you go, like overeating. It's overriding satiety, overriding your fullness. And so that's a problem. Here's another example, Jimmy, of actually what they do with some of these drinks. And this is pretty insidious, is that they will, I mean, first off, they've worked on that, like when you open the bottle, right? So like that's like, it starts the psychosomatic responses and the salivary responses, but then they put flavor up front in these drinks, but not in the back. So that when you drink it, and you've seen people do this, like they sit there, they drink it, it's really good. They put it down, they put the lid on, they take the lid off, they drink it, they put it down, and they keep going through this process over and over and over, and they don't even realize like how addicted they look. Like they can't just take a swig and put it away for 5 minutes. Is what happens is they're like, whoa, that was really good. I want some more because the back was so empty. I can't remember how it tasted, but I remember it was really good. So I'm gonna have some more. Oh, that's the taste I like. Oh, the taste is gone. I want more. It's really insidious. And we don't get told this. We don't get told that we're getting manipulated to this degree. And like you said, I mean, even these slogans, once you pop, you can't stop, or I bet you can't eat just one, or all this stuff. Like, I mean, they're literally putting it in your face.
Even da 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 da.
Yeah, I'm loving it, right?
Brand is, everybody knows that.
Exactly. So it's tough, and that's why I think it's really good to go. It doesn't need to be labeled paleo, but whole food, whatever that looks like for you, try and go as whole food as possible. Because if you look now, here's the worst combination. And the whole reason that we went down this path of high fat foods being bad for you, there's all these animal studies where they give them high fructose corn syrup or maltodextrin, and they give them pro-inflammatory processed vegetable oils. And then they say, high fat diets kill you. They're bad for you. Well, this is essentially the McDonald's diet that we put them on. So, of course, that's not healthy to give them rancid processed fats and then these ultra high glycemic processed sugars and combine that and say high fat is bad. So, they're obviously not getting into ketosis. They're nowhere near that. And what happens is you're getting that insulin spike, and instead of being in like a lipolytic state, like where you're going to be breaking down fat, you're in like an adipogenic state, like where you're creating fat and storing fat. And so that's the worst combination. And literally, Jimmy, there's no place in nature that high glycemic carbohydrate and high fat exists. There's only one that I know of, and it's the bear eats tons of berries and eats high fat fish.
Right.
And guess what it does? It puts on tons of weight
right.
for hibernation for the winter. And that's the only animal that I can think that does that with its diet, and look at the results.